Welcome to the Hardtech Podcast.
Everyone, welcome back to the Hardtech Podcast. It is just me on this side of the camera. It's call it Hardtech Podcast After Dark. We're at the end of the day on a Friday, putting in a quick episode here. So I've got Ben Wrightsman with me from AMVIC and many other things. So Ben, welcome.
Absolutely, glad to be on. Second time around, so apparently I did a decent job the first time.
Yep. So
been too long though.
It has been, because you were we filmed that at the old studio.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was season 1. That was
man,
a long
I'm feeling
time ago.
older already. Here we go.
Yeah. So Ben and I go way back. I first got introduced to you when I was a bright-eyed college student, and your company was belovingly donating batteries to our cause. So you were at EnerDel.
Sucker for a good time and some crazy young minds. Yeah.
Yep. And then we've been through quite a few adventures through your journey, but let's go all the way back. You're Hoosier native. How did you get started in engineering and hard tech? And let's go through the history of what you've touched.
It's been 30 years. Well, how do we recap that in like 3 minutes? Definitely a product of stranger things and stranger backgrounds. Hoosier native, born in South Bend. Parents moved to Indianapolis. Probably a great summary for me as a preacher's kid, so that probably explains why I've been as, some would say up to trouble or into as many things as I should or shouldn't be some days. But really, even from a young age, my parents would tell you, and still today, probably what sets the tone for it is ADHD and OCD background. Been diagnosed. My parents knew it then, but never took me in officially. And, my mom, short story on that, would tell you that, they did medicate me for one overnight, and she said I was a normal kid for the first night ever. Went to my bed for the first time and, didn't fight him going to bed and didn't find me up running around the house, to get up and run around the room. And she said, you did everything absolutely normal. And she said, I cried myself to sleep and realized the next day that's not what I wanted. So she said, hey, whatever God gave us, we were going to deal with. So, and they have, and I have too. And I think that's probably why, as you stated, why kind of getting into everything, it is my self-medication. And transparently, my mind goes 100 miles an hour. It's hard for me most days, for my wife and others who know me some days. But the OCD that comes out in that too helps me center.
I was going to say,
things as well.
Having worked with you over the years, the most amazing thing about your ADHD is it doesn't prevent you from seeing something to completion.
Correct.
Which most people that have ADHD tendencies are great at starting, bad at finishing.
Yeah.
And you are one of the very few people I know that have equal sets of both, that when something is undone or unfinished, you are more uncomfortable than sitting still.
Yes. Yeah, which is, that's probably the where the medication might have helped me, or could some days, because, it's a conflict. If it's left undone, anything that I start because of, the ADHD, my OCD says thou shalt complete, and it's got to be not just done, but it's got to be tied off with a bow.
Done right.
It's got to be done right. So it's a good thing.
I think that naturally led you into a successful career in hardware.
Yes.
Because unlike software where you can push bug updates and fixes later, whatever we ship has to be done.
That's correct. So it started with early on. Actually, I started tearing stuff apart, and my parents had to tell people when I was going to their place that, hey, by the way, if you got a couch or a sweeper or anything, he's going to tear it apart. And they're like, we're sorry. I don't know if we can put it together.
But we're going to try.
But we're going to try. And got into getting to know an electrician who's been a lifelong friend now, Dave Humphrey and Humphrey Electric. I got to know him, and he put that mind to work in the summers, working with him on the farms and other places as an electrician. And so got to learn, frankly, the world of electricity and electronics and connectivity and that kind of stuff as an installer and eventually as a turnkey electrician and journeyman. And actually in high school is what caused me from, I was considering actually military service because I wanted to serve the country, and met spouse who I'd known for a while more officially, and also the electrical stuff. He challenged me, even though my high school instructor told me that most likely I'd either be in prison, I'd be dead, or up to no good, or possibly doing something cool, but he wasn't sure that the last one was a reality for me.
Well, you're doing the last two together is what it is. No good and cool at the same time.
Probably. Yes, haven't made it to prison yet. I've gotten close a few times, it feels like. So, that was what was the start of the trajectory. And so electrician, and, one of one of my few peer sets that I paid my way through Purdue University, and frankly was at Purdue and loved what they did, and but quickly transferred because they said, hey, we've got this race car thing, and I'm a racer by heart and a background. Said, hey, we got this other project. I was working during the day as an electrician, was taking school midday, and then at night was working on vending machines. Again, back to just didn't sleep. And then they talked about this race program. I'm like, cool. And they're like, hey, it's the first time, and everything like it.
And it was electric.
It was electric, but the first one at Purdue was the stupid solar car. Sorry. Yeah. And I'm like, how fast does it go? And then they told me, I'm like, that's so boring. I mean, looking back, I could learn something there. But then owner Yurtsevin, I met him on, Dean Yurtsevin, I met him on campus at Purdue. He was from IUPUI at the time. And he said, we're going to start this Formula Lightning League. And oh, by the way, behind the scenes, we're working with Delphi Automotive on this project that's called the Impact. And I'm like, what's this? I love Impact. He's like, yeah, it's going to be an electric race car. It's a Lola chassis. The universities are going to build them, and we're going to race these all over the world. And I'm like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, count me in. I mean, I met you racing electric vehicles at a college campus.
Yeah, so I mean, you can understand this. Like
the draw is pretty good.
I mean, the racing, the comp, the tech, the innovation, the first of its kind.
No one knows what they're doing.
I mean, that is a big old bottle of medication right there for both diseases. That it's like all new stuff. ADHD loves that. OCD says I can focus on some really cool stuff.
And it has to work, and we have to be the fastest. And
yeah. So that was there, and met the company. First of that, the sponsors, Diversified Systems, was a sponsor. Stan and Dave and my soon-to-be father-in-law, Gene Carey, who were they're Purdue alum and deeply worked with Purdue. They were excited about the same program, and so I started now at college and electrician and working at night, building test systems for a circuit board manufacturer in Indianapolis, which at the time was well known, and we had some great projects, a lot of stuff we couldn't talk about. And drug me into the electronics world. So I had electronics, electrical engineering, and the practical in the field, starting all of that, and paid my college way as part of that. It's the racing really did it for me. And what's funny is that was really, if I look back and people say, how did you like electronics, electrician, battery,
race
racing,
cars,
how the heck did that intersect? It's there because it was an electric vehicle of its time, lead acid, but some really cool ones, and starting on some early nickel metal hydrides.
Yep, which went into Priuses, and that became what the Priuses ran on for 15 years.
All of Delphi's innovation, which is pedigree for every electric vehicle today, if you look,
it's just under the hood.
It's under the hood, the BMS, the inverters, all of their high voltage ecosystems and stuff. Everything. I mean, Tesla today, I can assure you their pedigree and what's in their DNA came from Delphi engineers in the late 90s, which is awesome. So that's what was the culmination. And then really it rapid expanded from there. The electronics took me into the contract manufacturing world. We didn't build any of our own. We built some of our own stuff, but we built for thousands and thousands of other people. I mean, just... Yeah,
you're the next step down the line for what we do. At Glassboard, we need contract manufacturers to take the designs we make and make many of them.
That is correct. I mean, I think about, we did not have glass boards at that time, and we had some engineering centers, but they really didn't understand the design for manufacture, the manufacturing reliability, the manufacturing readiness level. And so we had to do that. I mean, we had some brilliant minds. My father-in-law, I remember, Stan Bentley, who's still a part of now, a long spinoff of that, Diversified DSI and DivSys. I mean, they're still today injecting pedigree into electronics as well, and all of that knowledge that we knew for like IPC and all the printed circuit. But again, back to an intentional intersection, met thousands and thousands and thousands of clients. We were doing medical, military, automotive,
consumer electronics, you name it. It had circuits in it. You built it. And
I wound up. My first major one was the all-in-one, the undercover darkness of the all-in-one printer. I mean, this tells you, how long ago that was someone came up with the idea that we'll take the desktop scanner and copier and printer fax machine, and we'll create an all-in-one unit that users will buy. We'll demo it at CES, but they wanted to produce it as an electronic under cover of darkness and then scale it globally. And so
real fast.
And so we built that with the company. Eventually, Lexmark was one of the heads of that, HP as well. And then drugged me to China. And you talk about explosion. That was the early days of Foxconn 1 had been in place. We were at Foxconn 2 and then other electronics companies there. But I mean, the U.S., we had massive contract manufacturing then. But China, even in its early days, was exploding in a matter of a few years.
A decade.
Yeah,
within
now,
a decade.
Yeah, several decades later, they're the leader. But when we went there, we got exposed to, tens of thousands of more projects and innovations from, again, just throwaway consumer devices that you see in Walmart to the highest end tech that exists in the world that, flies and, controls and
fits in your pocket and is like a supercomputer that we all take for granted that we take phone calls on and send pictures of cats with.
Yeah, it goes in bodies. Early smart devices that became combined with better cell phones, then PDAs, then then telephone or then smartphones. Like, anyways, that was the intersection for me, and then that really secured me that I'd say diversified was my key for the importance of manufacturing, the importance of manufacturing process and manufacturing readiness level, the amount of work that it actually takes to get a design not just built, but built the right way, built cost effectively,
and reliably.
Reliably, a global economy, something that has you can continuously improve, that it has a life and an iteration. That whole ecosystem for me was absolutely phenomenal learning. That really built. I would say, we'll build into this other event, but why manufacturing has been such a heart for me. So I'm an engineer, electrical, battery, definitely, is my pivot if you ask me on energy, but then manufacturing and electronics is just kind of all that, that's my both my medication and my DNA that will always live with me. So
So from Diversified Systems, you make your way to EnerDel.
Yeah, Delphi was a huge customer for years. I mean, that's actually where Stan and Dave started. I
spent time at Delphi as well.
They did the first circuit boards for Delphi. That was in kitty litter pans of all things before my time, but built the first multi-layer board. Delphi became a huge customer, and we built everything from navigation to controls to radio to electric vehicles and hybrids. I mean, early systems for Allison, for Toyota, for Caterpillar, for Cummins, all these things that still exist today out there. And Delphi had the battery spinoff, which was EnerDel. A lot of folks still don't know even today that company that existed for a long time was Delphi. So all these Delphi, some amazing engineers that had worked on the Delphi advanced battery programs through lead acid for years.
And then nickel metal hydride.
And deployed that. And then lithium ion in combination with Sony and some others. They brought that tech, but unfortunately the bankruptcy in the late 90s, beginning of 2004 officially, they bankrupted certain divisions or restructured certain divisions, and that was a cost center for them. So they kicked it across. That was EnerDel. So some guys who knew me from Delphi drugged me in and said, hey, you've done this global deployment for us on electronics. Will you come over and help us build our supply chain? So went over as, ironically, Sean Hendricks, who I've known since Delphi, and Chad drugged me in under cover of darkness. They're like, hey, we need this help to get global manufacturing. We just don't know it yet. And helped them build, along with a great crew, the global manufacturing for battery management systems, electronics controls, and then the entire team of external contract manufacturers for our battery systems for EnerDel.
And then that's where you and I met. So you first started donating some of your batteries to Purdue to help more young kids learn how batteries and electronics work.
Yes.
And then fast forward not that many years, I'm a customer of yours at Indy Power Systems.
Correct.
Where Drew and I dropped out of college and we're buying your batteries to put into grid storage.
Yeah, that battery theme and electronics and relationships continue, of course. Yeah.
And so that plane doesn't make it, and Drew and I go back to school and start our first business in my mom's basement, and we buy EnerDel batteries to put into our electric go-karts.
Remember that well, and remember visiting the basement and loved it. I'm like, people are like, hey, have you seen their building yet? And I'm like, it's his mom and dad's basement. And they're like, really? Yeah. That's, wow. Well,
I remember when Angela Knapp and you would come over for sales calls, my mom would have snacks in the back deck, and it was everyone's favorite sales call.
That's right. I remember sitting by the pool enjoying snacks, and she was
like, what? When are you guys going to get your PhDs? And Drew and I were like, we're barely back enrolled for our undergrad.
I love that it's like we're upstairs in the conference room, aka the pool.
Yeah.
Mom, who is the admin, host, and all
Chief of
things
staff.
concierge, chief of staff, and then we go down to the dungeonous layer in the basement, and they let you convert it over to this mad science
Workshop.
lab. So
And there's still a black mark on the white drywall ceiling from the grease from the chain being thrown. We spun up the motor once, forgetting we had greased the chain. Still there.
hey, gotta have those. I mean, that's learning, man. That's early learning.
There's a check from you, from EnerDel, stapled to the wall in that basement still. That was our first consulting check.
I feel like I need a picture of that.
I have it on my phone. I'll
I
send
want
it
to
to you.
save that in my pedigree file.
You guys paid us to consult on the Tut-Tut project.
We did.
And that was our first consulting client that funded the go-kart company. Because we didn't raise any venture. We consulted to fund that business.
I knew we needed help. We reached out quickly, as always.
And the customer was like needed a deal. They were underfunded.
Yeah.
And we just hopped in.
By the way, I never knew it was your first, but I knew that we needed you first to help us from that point. So
yeah, that check is still stapled to the wall in that basement.
I love it. That's like first dollar bill. That's good to know.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
So we meet at EnerDel, and then the Indy Power EVC Racing for me, and then you part ways with EnerDel for BIC. The Battery Innovation Center. Yeah,
BIC. So EnerDel moving along. Some changes there with some structuring, and the battery world has always been a unique world, at least here in the United States. And a group that we actually helped, didn't found it, but helped with BIC. David Roberts, who had been had departed EnerDel a while prior and was doing some stuff in private practice again. Got a hold of me along with the Energy Systems Network and said, hey, we've got this thing that we started intersecting with Crane on critical energy and power, kind of a skunk works for the DOD down in Crane, which, I'm amazed how many people still today don't know that the third largest naval base in the world, the only landlocked naval base. You don't have to know Indiana that well. And then just the amount of power and energy excellence that goes on there, plus other awesome things. So we went down there to, frankly, it kind of gotten started. Captain Chuck Lasota, amazing guy. Got to meet him briefly. Unfortunately, we lost him very quickly. That was that was kind of our call to action because he started an amazing thing. And
he was the catalyst.
Yeah, he got unfortunately diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Amazing guy, like one of those, like why does it have to happen to a person like that? And got to meet him briefly, but he had a brilliant idea and an amazing team down there and a hell of an idea to go next. But unfortunately, we walked in in a mode where they had kind of gotten everything started, but they were underutilized, and counting on DOD and military and others is good if you're steady state, but it's kind of tough to build a brand new business around.
Well, and I'd love to pick up and tell some of the story because from the outside, I think it's more impressive than it was for you doing it. I remember when you left EnerDel for BIC and you told me what you're going to go do. And I'm like, wait, you're going to take a place where the DOD just put a bunch of money in to build a lab that's basically a giant hole of capital.
Yeah. Big playground.
Big playground, yes, but hole of capital, right?
Yes.
Like the same problem EnerDel actually had. They got a bunch of government money and grew too big too fast.
Transparently, you can go back and look at the records. It was $20 million, local investment, Greene County, amazing early partner, IADC and others to get it going. And that was again on opportunities from Crane. But anyways, keep going. Yes.
It's this thing that you can't.
By the way, it was not vaporware when it was built, but it was the move as hard and fast as possible to help our warfighter.
Right. Well, and what's amazing is you build this big thing up. How do you sustain something that big? When something grows organically, the scaffolding is built around it to sustain it forever.
Yes,
When you grow too fast, it's growing pains. How do you sustain this big monster?
Yeah.
And from the outside, what blew my mind is you're like, all right, this thing is all public, like DOD, military, government.
Yeah.
How do we make it capital, not efficient, but capital work?
That's correct. Yeah. Put it to the work it was intended for.
And you're like, we can get the private market to pay us money to use our expertise, our equipment, and the space to fund the space so it's around for the public good.
That's
so
correct.
It's here for our warfighter. It's here for our local economy. It's here for the country to use to innovate in a space that we were at the forefront of.
That is exactly right. And still is today, by the way. So, yeah.
And for me, from the outside, I'm an engineer consultant at the time. It was so cool to see that you took something that was the government lab and turned it into a private-facing entity without breaking the public-facing trust.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. So myself as a consultant, I could bring a client down, get access to equipment we could not afford to rent anywhere else.
Sure.
Afford to rent brains that were smarter than we'd ever been able to find. And because you weren't in it for pure capitalism, you got to play matchmaker.
Yeah.
It was the peanut butter and jelly game. You would meet peanut butter and you'd meet jelly as two separate clients.
Yeah.
And you make, I think you guys should get coffee, but I can't legally tell you what each other work on yet.
That was always been the unique dichotomy, is knowing, like, that is some awesome peanut butter, but you need jelly and you also need bread.
Yep.
And so how do you drag those together and make a sandwich with them and then let them take a bite? It's fun.
It was the most impressive thing.
So a couple credits there. First, Dave Roberts, longstanding friend, brilliant guy, huge, immensely challenging guy as well as far as challenging the team. When I was in EnerDel, loved his challenges. He always sat us down on that. Sean and I, many times in his room. He was definitely one of those. When he walked down there, he called me and said, "Hey, this is the thing." And while I was invited by, again, some of the other members, I'll give credit to Dave saying, "Hey, this is probably going to be a crazy idea, but the state needs this. We know from our background in batteries that people need it. We knew folks like yourself and others that, like, this is needed. This is important for the public, and it's a gold mine for the state from an outreach perspective. And frankly, again, I'm an innovation manufacturing guy. I'm like, this moves the needle on the industry, not just in Indiana, but globally.
It does. No, you guys became a hub and a center for this new technology that was lithium-ion batteries, going from how good is your laptop battery to how good is your vehicle, laptop, drone, advanced war system battery. Like you guys were the ones that were able to mix industries to make innovation happen at a pace that wasn't everywhere else.
Yeah. So, the unique one there too is, the old starving nonprofit, as they say. We came in heavily capitalized, again, amazing partners that started up on that. Stressed though. I mean, when we came in, they made it clear, like, hey, there's some things that we kind of counted on. And, I think,
the runway was there.
Actually, the runway did not exist. We realized when they came in that they were already expecting the plane to be taken off, which, again, I love me some Chuck. That was a conversation I wanted to sit down and talk with Chuck. I'm like, clearly he was maybe as crazy as the rest of us to, like, I see this, and he's going to, again, knowing he's a military guy, again, not a lot of time talking, so I don't want to say that I know exactly what was in his head, but he struck me as a guy who pulls back hard on the sticks, which I loved. And I mean, if you look at his background and pedigree, there was no doubt that he was, as a multi-time nuclear submarine captain and all the others. That's not for the faint of heart. Right. That's not for someone who's reserved at all. And so he did, and I think we went in with the, like, we lost an amazing captain, and we got to grab a hold of the sticks that had kind of fallen forward and pull just as hard back as we could to get this thing to take flight. And so we did that, and really the biggest pivot was going in and convincing the team that, yes, I know there is this tremendous relationship with Crane and the DoD and others, and we got to build and grow that as a playground. But even more importantly, the private industry and the industrial industry absolutely needs this in the United States, and nothing like this exists. And again, I know that Chuck and the team, they knew that it was in the background. Like, they didn't just do that for Crane. They did it because, again, I think he had a vision for all. That plane may have had some first class seats in it, but it had seats for everybody. Right, is what he did.
Well, and I think the thing that was lacking is it was originally a military centric government space.
Intended, yeah.
And that world is different than the world of corporate innovation or industry or consumer electronics. Yeah. And those bridges don't cross often.
It's a pace of innovation. Everybody loves, like, military hardened, military grade aerospace aluminum, but they don't want it at the pace of bureaucracy.
Right. Well, and the circles just don't overlap. The Venn diagram is tangent.
That's correct.
Right. And I think the thing that impressed me the most about what BIC was able to do as quickly as it did is you built a business development team that not only had to go develop the clients, right, do sales and get customers in to a place they've never heard of.
Middle of nowhere, Indiana.
Yeah, at a naval base.
At a naval base we had Westgate Academy there, which, again, heavily servicing the base until Purdue took over. It was definitely not a place that you just randomly go to.
Or ran into someone that worked at.
Correct.
And so not only do they have to develop this business and get connections and build the network, they had to develop the product.
Yes.
And this is, what do we sell? Do we sell training? Because you guys started doing safety training and how to think about battery systems and how do we treat people and meet them where they're at in training. we'll also give you access to our equipment. Hey, do you just need to rent a thermal chamber with a cycler in it? We've got a ton of them.
Yeah.
Like, let's put it to good use. It's collecting dust otherwise. Oh, you need a scientist to help you read the data from your cycling test? We have a few of those.
Yeah.
And I think that was this magic moment that you built a product that people didn't know they needed.
Yeah, the team there, I'll say I have, you asked about my background, absolutely blessed and honored that at Diversified, I think about the team there and the absolutely crazy stuff we did that people never expected. EnerDel, the same thing. We still talk about that today. And as I see battery systems, the products that are out there today, we're still bleeding edge in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. And that was stuff from the 90s and early 2000s. We're talking, 20 years later, we're still some of the best battery tech that existed and best deployments. And the team there. And then you look at BIC, the absolutely amazing team that was there. Yeah, scientists and engineers. I mean, G&Es between, we and the team, but also one of our other things we did is we brought teams there, and as the folks helped our customers. I mean, we went from less than 6 clients to north of 600.
Right. Your biz dev team killed it.
Active list of 120 to 150. Again, another team that understood everybody was in sales. Mm-hmm. And by sales was
customer
not
service.
Selling people, was relationships
Customer
and
service.
finding where are their problems and where can we offer solutions that people haven't thought of. Sure.
You were also a co-working space, right?
Yes.
Like you would take your small startup clients and give them office space and rent lab space, and you help crawl, walk, run, which
Yes.
is a theme anyone listening to this has heard me say a million times. Hardware has to crawl, walk, run.
Yeah, it's
Even if
not like software. You can't just pump it out on a computer.
And you can crawl, walk, run quickly, but you have to do it in that order.
Yes.
There is no jump to the massive scale.
No, not with hardware. I agree.
No.
Anybody who's tried to convince me of that has always failed and been wrong.
And I know plenty of people that are phenomenal that can crawl, walk, run very quickly.
Sure.
They can do it in a compressed timeline because they have extra. If you have the capital and can afford the risk, let's go fast.
Yeah.
But you test the step, check, test the step, check, test the step, check. Now we're in full production.
Yeah.
And I think what you guys did at BIC, the other half of the magic the listeners might not know is you didn't just focus on testing the batteries or the tech. Your huge focus was how to make them.
Yes.
How do you reel-to-reel manufacture this chemistry that is coming from an academic lab into the real world? And where I want to kind of dovetail this transition to is I feel like AMVIC is set up to mirror this but bigger than batteries.
That is correct. So just rounding off BIC, because there's so much more we could talk on there and what they are even doing today, that education, that innovation, and driving that forward and connecting, from that 6 to in less than a year, we got to at least, cash operational break even.
Mm-hmm.
In a year and a half, we went positive, and then several years later, we were able to get to where we needed to be. I had to work on our debts and some other stuff, and we had some gracious partners helping us solve for some of that stuff that was early
Mm-hmm.
on. But then rapidly, again, the hundreds of clients is really in all of that. All of those clients, and I can say, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to stand on and say nearly all of them. The next theme, as we got to even early on, a year in, as we had helped them from materials through a cell development to then some quantity of cells and then putting that into a system.
Pack. Yeah.
They're like, where do we go with this superset of this system? And we're like, well, I guess we kind of thought you had a plan for that in your own company or whoever else.
I'll say this, as Glassport, who helps people build products, it is astounding how much we have to help, how far along we need to take it. You always think that you're like, no, I'm here for my part, right? I'm here just to do the engineering, lay out this circuit board and write the firmware. We have to help our clients get all the way to the shelf at retail.
Yes.
Because most of them, even if they've done it before, that person may be gone. That knowledge is lost.
It's new innovation, and they're not sure how this one does different than the last one.
And you have to be people like you and I that are in service businesses that do it every day.
Yeah.
That understand every step of the path every single day.
Correct.
To be the shepherd.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where our greatest blessing, greatest curse is you and I are always the shepherds, never the people that are bringing the new thing to market.
Yeah.
We get to have small fingerprints on very cool big things.
Yeah. I just like you, I love to tell everybody that when I walk into a room, I know I had a hand in that with a lot of other hands, but it's awesome to see that whether I'm in a battery room, an electronics room, or whatever. And I know you're the same way. That's probably what fuels me every day, is knowing I don't know. Again, that helps the ADHD. The OCD says I helped with that product, but the ADHD loves that I helped with 100 of that product.
And I know how to do all the different steps of all the different things we've touched.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the ADHD that fuels all of us here at Glassport. It's never the same day twice.
And I think that's what, just like contract manufacturing, why Glassport, from getting to know each other at EnerDel, and again, love knowing that first consulting interaction, love it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got a picture of that. But then watching how you guys have grown, it's been amazing. I posted out there the other night about watching two young minds and how driven you were. Just like we know in contract manufacturing how important that is, the importance of what you guys do. That again, I've met a lot of firms that can help you design a product and they can get it released once. Mm-hmm. But I love your point. Not just that they have it, but on the shelves and they're moving it and they're improving it and they're into the next generation. That is few and far between. That is a pedigree and a knowledge and an understanding and a engagement that until someone's experienced it, they don't understand. And once they do, it's like contract manufacturing. It's like, why would I ever build everything myself in my own company when there's these experts that have this capital and can put it to use and they've got all the smarts? I just need to bring them the idea and then wait for those checks.
Right.
Same thing is like find the people that will help you make it the best and make it where it can be manufacturable in a steady state, and then capitalize on those checks. Because hard tech is hard, and doggone, it's expensive.
And it's
already bad enough.
And you and I have bruises all over our bodies that are the only reason we know how to do this.
Don't race hard tech. At some point also, I hope you would agree, at some point you actually cross this threshold of where you maximize revenue and you hit a race to a commodity or to the bottom.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you don't ever build your own company and all your manufacturing and CapEx, but doggone, that's a really, really strategic decision that most just rush right to.
Well, my favorite phrase I started to learn how to say is, you should do that with house money.
Yeah.
Right? You should do that when this product is making you so much money.
Correct.
That you have the cash to go do that yourself.
Yeah.
Let's go build you a line. Until then, we should rent someone's line.
And by the way, anybody listening in is going to be like, you guys are just tooting your own horn because you're a CM by background. You're biased as hell. And Grant, you've been doing this is what you made your pedigree off of. Oh my gosh. If I hope that, when this gets out there, that maybe this section, someone will post and say, this is true 1,000%, exclamation from an OEM or someone else who knows, who's been through that painful struggle or race to that commodity bottom and hopefully saved themselves and said, no. Like there's a great pivot point where you continue. And I agree, at a minimum, do that with house money.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like, please, I've helped people build their own company, so I'm not biased to not do it. But the entire time I was like, I'll help you with this. You're going to regret this. I'm not going to tell you that until at some point you're going to come and go, wow, like
you were right.
This was a lot of CapEx. This is a lot of time. I probably should. I'm dealing with this with a client right now who started that path. We went in and assessed, and even their investors said, thanks for the advice, but we want to build this. We want to own it. Everybody in batteries owns their stuff. And I'm like, yeah. And
how many? You want to go raise 9 figures?
Yeah. How many of those are successful? And have you actually looked at their follow-up? How many rounds they're in? I'm like, they're in Z rounds of funding.
Yeah. They're running out of the alphabet.
And they're in like back to like AA. And they're like, it's like AA round. Wait, did they mistype? No, it's AA round. They've gone to A to Z and now they're back to AA.
It's not A twice. We've gone around.
And by the way, they still haven't commercialized. And I'm like, and then it's like, they've got all this equipment and all these people. And I'm like, go to a great CM on the sell side. There's amazing. Go to BIC, go to somewhere and get it built.
I just want someone to post all the auctions in the comments of all the battery equipment, because that should tell you a story.
And not just battery. I know we can pick on that one, but that's an easy one. But
my pick and place line come from a company that shouldn't have owned a pick and place line that early in their
electronics,
system.
semiconductor. Yeah. I mean, if TSMC didn't teach anybody about semiconductors,
right,
go look at that litmus test on semiconductor and what's happened with fab there.
Well, and it's no one understands how hard it is to get perfect, and hard tech has to be pretty damn near perfect. And
but it's just equipment and facilities, right? It can't be that hard. I invest it and buy it, right?
My favorite is
sarcastic
you need
comment.
You need to find the old angry guy that's the quality manager, and you need to go take him out for a beer, and then you'll understand why you do not want to do this yourself.
Yeah,
because you need someone that anal retentive with that much OCD.
Yeah,
right. that's actually good at management.
And in certain spaces, an investor that has a threshold for how many times you're going to come back to the well, again, to go through that.
No, but you should do this with house money.
D, C, E, F, G, H, I, Z, A round, and is willing to hang out for a decade or more. Again, I know products that literally have been a decade or more now because of their setup, and the investors are so worn out. They're like, please just tell me like when I'm going to make any money, or just shoot me in the head.
No, to take this out back, old Yeller. It's time to put this one down, guys.
Yes, and by the way, there's some breakthroughs, but they're pretty rare. So, play with house money.
But the
That's
better
a
ones
brilliant
are
one.
crawl, walk, run.
Yes.
Let's build it in a small lab like Glassboard and go launch a pilot and make sure people like the dog food.
Yeah.
Hey, then let's go find a contract manufacturer to scale you up till you're making really good money.
Yeah.
Then let's go find you a high volume contract manufacturer who's likely different than the first one we worked with for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Who can get you even better margin and is closer to your supply chain and makes all this magic happen because you're growing too big for the guy that you started with because he doesn't even want you that size.
That's correct.
You're too much of a client concentration risk for him.
That is correct.
So now we're your giant global CM, right? You're probably building it at more than one factory to get better shipping rates across the planet and all this cool stuff.
Yep.
When we hit that scale, now you can go get the cream on top of taking the CM's margin by building your own.
This is where then your bookies can sit down and look at the calc for what's next, because usually they do it on the front end. They're like, I can do that. I've looked at the equipment. I've done the calcs. I've looked at the timeline. I can do that for a third of what it takes to do it in industry. I'm like, no, you'll do it for 3 to 4, 5x what it takes them at 3 to 5x the amount of time. But go on ahead.
Yep.
If you want to get those stripes and scars and tattoos and horrible lashings, you go right on ahead.
Well, and the answer is in 10 years, you will get the margin you wanted, but it'll take you 10 years to learn those lessons.
Yeah.
You should scale with them.
And again, there's unicorns, but most people get the horn. Occasionally there's a unicorn. So
Yep.
So pivoting, AMVIC.
So AMVIC. So
we got on to manufacturing, but
that's why it's why we're here. The reason we can talk about AMVIC is you're passionate enough about this, and that's why I'm here. Because I also am.
I'm a sucker for a stranger thing. So we heard about this subset or the superset of like, now where all does this tech go? And they're like,
where the batteries go into a thing. Where do they go?
Yeah, and it started with where do the batteries, and so it had a lot of conversations and and a lot of years. And Dave and I, and before Dave moved to IEDC, and was helping the state of Indiana to do some amazing things and grow there. I mean, first time to really focus on innovation as a pillar versus like it's just another parentheses in what we do.
Trying to do.
To actually be intentional on that. As you look through that, we heard about that, and so I actually departed BIC for, just like some of our other employees, for a couple initiatives we were working on, and was doing some stuff in the critical and rare earth space with actually helping alma mater Purdue scale some tech in that space, which great tech, great to see that tech, working to come about, nothing more to say there except for awesome to see the tech that we proved that, a couple of the pieces were viable. And I had David Glass, who was on the ESN board and had helped advise BIC, who came around and said, hey, I got this idea for the Vehicle Innovation Center. He's like, for the VIC. And he's like, there's some...
Sounds a lot like the BIC.
Yeah, like the BIC. And I was like, that's too close to BIC. And by the way, he said, at BIC like this, and he went through it. He's like, man, they're like the superset with like the systems and the product. And like, we've got customers that are doing this. He's like, there's like no place for this even for us.
And there's more area under the curve from the private side. Like, this is a bigger pie.
Yeah, he's like, but this isn't a us thing. He goes, what do you think? And so I'm like, well, insider baseball, Dave. I'm like, I love it because we've gotten beat over the head with. But I said we never did it. He's like, this doesn't make sense as a for-profit, as a nonprofit, because of the ways in which that can engage the community. It can engage, fundings that are available to nonprofits, which help move innovation. They tie to training and others. So he threw that idea, and so we sat down on it, brought in Kathy Choi, into that fold, and started reaching out to parties. And the early, I wasn't there for the founding of BIC, so I can't say what all Chuck had to go through, but I will say we had people who came to us from everywhere that had worked with BIC, and when we started talking about it, they said, I know what you guys did at BIC. I know your impact to us as an OEM, as a startup, as a university, as individuals. They're like, this was huge. You guys have connected us globally. You've, helped us scale fast products. I mean, we were responsible for, we couldn't ever publicly say them, but I now can say one of the critical acquisitions that Tesla did for some silicon and battery technology was a group, Tyler, and won't give too much info on that, but Tyler, that was technology started at BIC, incubated at BIC.
I didn't know that Tesla bought Tyler's business.
Yes, so
That's awesome.
Tesla bought that. It was in all their other announcements, quite a few years ago.
Yeah,
that was in there, and
like
he gave entire credit to Elon and the team for BIC putting him on the map. In fact, they were in a competition with Milwaukee Power, like Milwaukee Power Tool, TTI, was in the front running of the bid, and last minute Elon and Tesla. Elon himself swooped in and made a stalking horse offer on them and bought out Tyler and their work. And so
I love that.
So and there was others. I mean, stuff with Cummins and acquisitions they did.
But I love this is startup,
yes,
enterprise, public,
yes,
in the mixing pot, enjoying living together. Which
correct.
Nowhere else in the world they do.
They normally they're always like. It's funny how many OEMs want to talk to startups and they're not sure how. And I'm like, you're so big, just call them. They'll pick up the darn phone. And of course, small companies are like, hey, someone like that's never going to pay attention to us. How do I connect? So this AMVIC thing is why this has come about is because we've seen that in the superset stage is already, some of our critical stuff. So the AMVIC, the Advanced Machine and Vehicle Innovation Center. We also have the AMV, which is the Advanced Machine and Vehicle Institute. So we have both our 501c and 501c6. One of those obviously membership led, and we're glad to have some early partners there. And then we have the other that's our fee for service operational side that's doing R&D and testing and the like. That's what we've heard is we've got OEMs that we're working with on, and these are things that don't fit anywhere yet. But they're in a fast pace. I hope everybody's heard about, AI and data center infrastructure, but that is rapidly deploying and the next generation of hard tech for data centers to maximize power usage, to maximize performance, to reduce and eliminate, their water and waste. I would say that what they need to drive the innovation world today and for the U.S. to succeed in our AI race and our innovation race. AI is, I don't care what anyone says, it's a critical part of that. Data is a critical part of that.
Well, and it's my favorite part about the AI data center build and like the problem that it is as an engineer of the puzzle.
Yes.
It hits all spectra.
It does. Data's everywhere. Yeah.
But the data center, you are massive civil engineering problem. Oh man,
civil.
How do I pull this much copper? How do I run this thing? Oh, we have to transmit this much data across what used to be a rack or a few. Now it's like a building bigger than some cities.
Correct.
We need enough fiber in this thing to like basically light up the night sky.
Yeah.
So we have fiber, and now we need to cool this thing. Wait, can't just do evaporative cooling because that will actually like boil the ocean.
Yeah.
How do we get these closed loop cooling systems to reject enough heat fast enough, and then where do we get the power to generate that powers and makes the heat? Like, it is this entire systems problem that feels very big macro civil. Amps are in how many megawatts, right? Yeah. But you also then have the data rates and the high-speed electronics and the networking and the systems and the IT, and then you have the cooling and the measurement and controls. It is a problem for everybody.
Yeah, and the pin in that is, again, hopefully preaching to the choir, and for those listening in, AI and data centers. I think everybody thought it was like create your cool images and jump on Facebook and do your AI research and others. The amount of data, I talk to, again, friends in the industry and everything from insurance to health to manufacturing, the amount of sheer data that we use today, just my daughter's school, to go and look, I did a parse on the amount of data that they use as a high school today versus what they used even 2 years ago, demands a data haul in its own. And that's, you go to a hospital and the amount of patient data, the insurance amount of data that they're processing. People again can throw, shade at like, fly cameras and, AI tools and cartoons and all the others. Those are on the fringe for me. The critical use of data every day is driving data centers. And the data center companies know that their systems of, we'll call it yesteryear, but only in the last year or two, have to critically advance and innovate to be more robust, higher performance, lower cost, faster to deploy, and they have to reduce their load on our critical infrastructure because they're getting ready to hit that wall in a lot of cases.
Oh, and what I think the most amazing part about this entire narrative is we were all worried that EVs were going to crash the U.S. grid. I remember you and I debating this in like 2014.
Yes.
Like how many people will have to adopt EVs before the grid gets stressed?
Yeah.
No one cares about that now, right? The data centers.
No, look at how much infrastructure is out there, and we solved the range anxiety because it was always an infrastructure anxiety problem.
Yeah.
Keep going. Yes.
No, but my favorite joke about that is like we used to worry about that. Like, oh, can this area move enough current if that neighborhood all moved to EVs overnight? Like, we might need to upgrade that.
Yeah.
Now these data centers, like, no, we need to figure out how to make power at a scale that continents didn't used to think about.
Yeah.
But we need to do that within a city now.
Yeah.
And the scale of innovation that's happening, like the micronuclear that's the West Coast is lighting up about, like there's
SMRs and others.
10 micronuclear companies that all got insert N number of billions of funding to go race the same race. So I think this is coming together, and this is where the AMVIC really lights up for me. This is the same race as the battery race when BIC was important.
Correct. Yeah. By the way, the battery race is still going. We are still. Nobody has let up. It's shifted a little bit, with light duty pass car, but it's probably being overshadowed by AI and data center.
It's just not the new thing.
It's probably not the sexy political topic, as some would say. But
I mean, I drive an EV. You have a few. Like we all have stuff that uses it. It's coming. It is just now. That's 5% gains compound year over year.
Yeah, we're not in the commodity, but we're in the ongoing deployment stage.
It's called compound interest. It's great. It's a hell of a drug. They're going to get really cool in 10 years.
Yeah.
You won't read about it in the headlines tomorrow again.
No, probably
because
not.
The data center and the AI thing is, ironically, AI will likely drive the innovation that finds the chemical innovation that does the battery thing.
I agree. Yeah.
But going up to the superstructure of what AMVIC wants to touch versus one subsystem that was batteries, you guys are building a place and space and a team to tackle what I'm going to call the holistic problems. The way that the Glassboard does for what I'm going to call product that you can either ride in or hold, you guys are doing both at the ride-in level and some of the hold level, but also up to the large infrastructure scale problem.
Yeah, enterprise and infrastructure. Yeah, it's critical infrastructure. Yeah.
So I think that this is why I think it's important is you guys are going to have equipment at a scale that most people don't have, and you're going to have small, medium, and large scale. Yeah. So you can touch your consumer electronics and do some cool stuff there in power and energy and critical safety. You can go to your vehicle, medium skill level things.
Platform level, a mobile or a small scale platform, but big stuff. Yeah. And
then you're going to have the equipment to test the really big stuff that there are probably single digit number of places to test. Right? Like this is where you're scaling to.
That's correct. Yeah. So, our open house was a few weeks ago. Folks got to see our early, we really, BIC is one like on battery. We kind of built on top of what BIC has to add battery, but also again for hybrid and electrical infrastructure. That's still continuing. I mean, the large scale buses and trucks and all that stuff are deploying. We've got planes, trains, automobiles now grid with the infrastructure that's needed for there, and where they're putting batteries inside a rack. So yeah, our scale today is starts at kind of walk in. We've got some stuff smaller than that, but most of it's kind of walk in through. Transport in through drive-through, scale perspective. And again, whether that's on a tractor trailer or it is the tractor trailer itself or a bus. And then just like BIC, we found like there's some places. So, that's data center, that's AI, hardware, next generation infrastructure. Again, I want to put a pin in that industry knows the load that they need, the load that they put on our infrastructure to be able to deploy what they need today. But for the future, they have to get more efficient and they have to build some of their own capacity and capability. Yeah. By the way, Electrician comes out of me. I'm jonesing because for trades, for electricians and others, it is a trades renaissance right now for critical infrastructure from utilities, batteries, utility plants, distribution and others. Watch what's happening. And we're behind. I mean, the U.S. is 25 years behind in deploying these critical infrastructures. We didn't
invest. We didn't need to.
Yeah, we were worried about EV. And if we got EV, we probably would have been stretched and like, ooh, that was a little tough.
Yeah.
AI and what we need there to be out there is going to cripple us. And I actually, if we don't act, and so I'm glad to see, the utilities and others coming forward and the big OEMs, the Amazons and the Metas and others of the world recognizing their role in a critical infrastructure, just like Tesla. They were brilliant on the EV side because they recognized not just build an EV, but build an EV that people want, but then also build the infrastructure.
Charging network.
They knew critical infrastructure. And so our data center folks are not dumb. They're actually very, very brilliant. They're going to enable what we all need daily, and I do believe we need and use that, but they're going to help with the critical infrastructure. But I'm going to add a couple others on AMVIC is then, just like BIC, there's some edge cases that, again, maybe got overshadowed, but like humanoids. And again, sort of like data center and AI, do we need that? Humanoids are like, hey, are these going to take away all our jobs? We've got an event we'll be talking about here in a moment, but our upcoming event, you're going to see humanoids in play and doing some cool stuff. Humanoids enable so many things for the human race. There are, as a trades guy who started, as a guy who's done some really, really dumb and dangerous jobs, and even some of the work that we have to do is dumb and dangerous.
You and I are both happy we still have all these digits, and neither of us should.
We have safety regulations for some of those. I'll mention one just right off the bat. High voltage and arc flash, and what it takes for me to enter as an electrician, an area that, frankly, with all of that, no human being should actually ever be in.
But we have to. Someone's got to build it.
But if I'm the guy who knows what to do, and I can send a humanoid in to do it, and heaven forbid I don't want to blow up an expensive asset, but dear God, I don't want to put any human in harm's way. That is where, for me, the humanoid role is. I don't see them taking over everybody's job tomorrow. It just won't.
Well, and it's a crawl, walk, run.
Correct.
You're going to start with very specialized systems doing one thing that's really dangerous because that is worth a lot of money.
Yes.
And then you're going to get to stuff that's dangerous and no one wants to do.
And you're going to see some commodity things that, frankly, people love and hate. People hate. The turnover is so high because it's just
no, it's a bad job.
Nobody wants it.
No one
they
likes
hate it, and they do it for a bit, but then they get out of there. That's where you can put some smart people, or you can put the people that are like, hey, I want one level up job, but can I delegate this to the new guy or gal? Why don't you dedicate it to the humanoid, and we'll put you to even better use from a plus-up perspective.
Well, and I think everyone forgets the internet didn't kill the world. Everyone thought the internet and computers were going to take away all of the jobs.
Well, I was an electrician when I entered. It was Y2K. That was what I was prepping everybody for. That didn't happen, but keep going.
But everyone's worried the secretaries were not going to have jobs, that all these parts of our American culture were going to disappear when the computers and the internet took over.
Innovation has always been the big boogeyman. It's been the big boogeyman.
But guess what happened? Everyone actually got better jobs. Right, like the secretaries are now like chiefs of staff or office manager. Like they have more responsibility and more roles, and not less people are working. Ironically, more people are working than ever.
Yeah,
and it's two reasons. There's people produce more, so that people consume more.
Yes,
and yes, American consumerism may be going a little on the extreme side, but
got to watch that. Yeah,
but I have a robot lawnmower that mows my lawn. And I can afford to buy that because I produce cool stuff here at Glassport, and everyone gets to do cooler jobs, so we can do less time in the jobs that aren't as cool, which makes everyone come up. And I think that the concern everyone has about the humanoids and the AI is actually just a time variant problem.
Agreed. Agreed.
100%. We are going to compress the timeline. Things are moving fast, and it's going to get bumpy.
Yeah.
The long run, it'll be good. And if we all look at this with the right lens of, we need to work together to get through this weird bumpy zone of jobs will be displaced in the short term. How do we take care of everybody?
Yeah.
And as a society, if we band together to get to the other side, I think it gets really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, we also have, national races as well, is that China is advancing rapidly and continues. I mean, not advancing. They are way out front in a lot of cases. Mm-hmm. And, everybody's like, hey, do we really need to win the race? Okay, but as an ex-racer, I'm like, we at least have to be competitive. Well, and we must be competitive. Fight over who's 1, 2, or 3, but if we don't, we're going to be beholden. I actually think that is a risk that we're more beholden to more dominance out of China without a core amount of competition and independence.
Well, and I think this is the American way to anti-monopoly. What we should not allow to happen, whether it's inside our borders or outside, is a monopoly on any one industry.
Agreed.
Where some power, a national power or just a corporation, does everything for one industry. I think that it's healthy competition. This is why open source models are useful and needed. Local compute is a thing we should all learn about.
Yeah.
Right? I'm running local little models on my MacBook Pro, and it's great, and I'm learning what they're good for.
Yeah.
And AI is getting smaller and faster and better, and a year or two from now, the current size models might fit on my laptop for fun.
That's exactly right.
And I think this is the American competition spirit that you and I both love.
Yeah.
Right. It's not I want to
but a global engagement.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not that I want to beat them into the ground. It's
Correct.
not that I'm afraid of them. It's that
Correct.
no, we all want to see who can do what when, because this is important to everybody.
Yeah, again, back to that racing, it's a competition. There is collaboration too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
A phrase I heard at an event last night. No one had broken the 4-minute mile in like forever, and the year that it happened, within the next like 6 months, 4 people did it because they saw someone could.
Yeah.
And this is what healthy competition looks like.
Love it. Yeah.
You're pushing the forefront of the field for everyone to now push forward.
Yeah.
And yes, you have these breakthrough moments, but it moves everyone up.
Yeah.
And I think this is what the American dynamism is about. What you guys are trying to do at AMVIC is build this center of collaboration.
Yes.
Within this healthy competition.
Yeah. So that humanoids. So we talked AI data center humanoids. What's happening with autonomous vehicles there as well.
Yep.
It's funny, autonomous, helping with getting the Indy Autonomous Challenge going, a ton of different autonomy work. Autonomy everywhere now as you look at mining vehicles, underwater, in the air, self-driving and all the others. That is as a guy who loves to drive, I've also realized the value of that. So we've got, the ability to do that stuff there as well. So we've got these things that probably make sense to a lot of people, but then we've got these, again, I'm going to use Don's word that he told me the other day, these stranger things that just don't have a place to fit. And that was just like BIC is they'd come in with ideas and they're like, I don't know where this fits. And it's like, come home. We'll help you. We'll help you.
It's the snowball thing I told you about. Everyone asks, can you do one more thing?
Yeah.
And us as the consultant picks up one new skill because no one knew how to do it on the team. Us, the client, any of our vendors. And we go, I guess we'll try.
Yeah.
And then we now know that skill. And we can offer that skill to the next person we work with. And our team grows with both people and talent and skills. I think this is the AMVIC, this natural evolution of your journey is culminating these things together and leading into the event that's coming up because we need to get to that before we run out of time.
Yes, yeah.
Is I'm just really excited to get involved and be a part of putting the bullhorn on this, that you're working to build this center. Again, not alone. There's a great team with and around you.
Yeah, Kathy Choi, our CEO, former Cummins executive, brilliant lady. Love her. Again, reminds me of Dave in a lot of ways. Critical, challenging, pushing, but also agile and flexible, which I love. And having the rest of the board members with Dave Glass, Kunal Tayel, Tom Brosey, Katrina Karch, Shin McKeel. We've got this mix of, some nonprofits, some private folks, some founders, some big OEMs, big OEM previous. That's what AMVIC is about. That's what the nonprofits are about, is this public-private nonprofit ecosystem, and the rounding of those founders is critical. So, yeah, now circling how we came up with the event, what we learned at BIC back when is we did all that cool stuff for everybody. And the people who worked with us, again, those hundreds and hundreds of clients and the ones that still work with them actively today, a huge list, know what they did. But then we realized, like, we got to tell that story, like around Indy, not like to go out and like, here's what BIC can do for you. It's like, we need you to come out here as this industry and tell people what is possible when we get you all together. Like, we'll take credit for getting you all together, but you guys are doing the cool stuff. We're just matchmaker.
This is peanut butter jelly, man. This is the magic.
We are just here. We didn't make the peanut butter, the jelly, or the bread. We just said that is a great combination. We should get you together. And so the AIM IN event, and that, again, it had a couple different names in itself, but it was for us to say early on, we have already seen with some of these technologies and stuff around, again, data center, humanoid, electrification, hybridization,
manufacturing,
autonomous vehicles. How many people have reached out within our current client list and member list and said, thanks for letting us be a part of the start of this thing. Can you connect us with this company? And we're like, again, I'm back to I can just give you the phone number. Have your admin call them and they'll pick up the phone and they're like, no, can you make an introduction on behalf? Because I don't know if they'll pick up the phone. And so AIM IN is a way for us to do that for everybody to get that. So not just a client that comes to us and pays us and says, your grant and says, hey, Ben, can you introduce us to Glassboard because we need this help? And I'm like, I'll just send you the message. We do that in that open environment. AIM is around, and I'll say we stole from the build up that Dave and I did of the first luncheon at BIC. we borrowed from that pedigree because the feedback, and hopefully you would echo this.
I went to every one, and it was an event I would not miss.
We went from 25 in a restaurant with a crazy idea that we had like 30 or 40 more people wait list, and it was like last minute, to the next year, 100 that we got a small space, and we went and had 70, had nearly double for instant, to the following year sold out in the hundreds, to then having the demonstrations where nobody wants to come in and see a sales pitch, but they want to see the cool stuff you're building for others and the stuff that those people have coming to fruition. And then they want to hear about the tip of the spear. Again, they don't want another board deck or a website pitch. They want to hear what, like this year, Jorn from Amazon, I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's coming in talking about an industrial renaissance as it relates to an innovation of AI and data centers. And it's going to be awesome.
And my favorite is the renaissance that's in AI and data centers isn't actually about the silicon and the chip and the thing and TSMC, which we already know is cool.
Yes,
It's actually about, oh no, this is how we're cooling better. This is how we're moving power faster. This is how we're pouring concrete more efficiently. It is all this stuff that is like old school, but is now new again.
And it's now it's we use the peanut butter and jelly. It's taking those and putting peanut butter and jelly on pancakes and those kind of things. It's like whole new mix mash, and people are like, oh, that's darn good too.
Well, and I think
peanut butter and jelly on a burger. I had that the other day, and I'm like, I've rejected it for years, and I'm like, what the heck am I not doing peanut butter and jelly on a hamburger for?
Triple X.
I mean, it'll kill you with diabetes, but
once in a while you deserve a sweet treat.
Yeah. So this again, these stranger things. So that's the intersection of the AIM IN event and why I know I'm glad to have Glassboard. You, as you said, you guys have been a critical part of helping us, at BIC, those first crazy ideas that if we get all these people together, sparks are going to fly. Like we'll bring all the sparklers in the room and bring a lighter and see what happens and let them rub together too and explode it. And it's already happening pre-event right now.
Right. Well, you and I connected on this, 3 days ago?
Yes.
And I've already got, I think every email I sent out got a response with a big green checkbox like, I am coming, tag me in. And it's not because your or my network are special.
We've got some great people, but yeah, and there's some of those that are going to show up just because they want to see what we're up to.
Right, but it's the kind of things that we're up to.
That is, and what it is. What network is up to? It's like this is again. That is like I don't even know what that is over there. It's jelly looking over, wondering what even peanut butter is.
Right, and you and I have this magic part of our career that we aren't the people in the one thing, that this is our thing. We are the people with our fingerprints on a little bit of everything all of the time. And this is one of those experiences at the summit where you bring it all together. And the superpower of a Glassboard or of a DivSys or of a BIC or of an AMVIC is that I have been in that other industry. And they do this one really weird thing that works for them really well. I think it could work in yours. Even if it's not introduce you to someone. It's like, we need to go steal, like for us, take the medical device process, which sounds burdensome and terrible and lots of paperwork.
Oh, onerous as hell, yeah.
But if you steal the titles of the documents, but put that into consumer electronics development, holy cow, you can go so fast. You can cut out all this risk.
Hierarchy with some heretic.
Right. And it's this, you can be the chef that tastes all the ingredients because you're an Indian chef and an Asian chef and American savory chef and a European chef. Oh, no, I know that these things are both savory. I should mix those two together.
Create your own fusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the part of AMVIC that I'm the most excited about, is it's going to be weirder sets of the hard tech space, the big parts that all need the little parts to work.
That you're spot on, and I feel like I should hire you for a salesperson.
I know we're here right now.
And obviously, we'll work together, so I'm sure we'll be helping each other network.
Yeah.
That is the thing, is these pieces and parts all going together. How does that support the greater? And then as we look at those greater things, back to, as you said, drawing correlations, it amazes me still at this point that, you walk into, everything from the OEMs to the startups, and there's so many playbooks out there that I do wonder sometimes, like, that's an industrial renaissance piece for me. And I think for the United States right now, as I look at it, and what does that mean is, when I came into my career, we had that, at least maybe because I Stan he did call me. You can look on my LinkedIn; it's still there. Was just a kid in a ball cap.
Yep.
Just a crazy kid in a ball cap, and I still wore a ball cap in like business meetings early on. That was stupid, but
You're still a crazy kid.
But yes, I still am. Yeah, I haven't quite taken, growing the hair out, so I don't have to wear the ball cap all the time. But that was, I believe that was then as well. I'd have to ask him for sure, or at least he instilled in us that's what everybody else did, was borrowing from these pedigrees and learning of all the products we built and how do they take that playbook or that menu. Yeah, I mean, look at whatever it is and create a fusion of that for the next person that moves them faster. And you just iterate that for everyone, and it's holy crap. Like, I look today and it's like, it seems so simple to me. Back then, it seemed like the coolest thing in the world, and it still does today. But it also seems so kind of fundamental, like basic blocking and tackling.
It's first principles. At the end of the day, all what we do and what most jobs should be is look at the first principles of the problem. It's not always physics and math, but there's a first principle to, we need to meet this code in accounting.
Yeah.
Like, just go all the way down to this is the code, this is the in and the out.
Yeah.
Then layer the nuance on.
Agreed.
But a lot of people skip first principles, go straight to nuance because that's their job. They're the expert.
Yeah.
And when you forget to write down first principles and just tackle it there first and then expand out, you miss some really cool fundamental differences. I think that in manufacturing, first principles are like looking for quality.
Yeah.
Like, I can either make this to the precision it needs to be, or I can make the hole it goes in bigger. Right? Like, there's these simple problems that you can solve with way less money, way less effort, that end up a product that fits together perfect every time.
Yeah, to your, you made the note about the running and breaking the record, for the 4 minute. I think it's the same thing there. And I actually wonder, is it because so many companies, and it's not just startups, again, you can say startups, everybody wants to run there, and frankly, their investors are pushing them like crazy to instantly go to run. But as I look at even at OEMs, forgetting what it took them to get to run and or new companies looking at others and they see them running, back to if you and I want to do that methodology, you read up what it took to get to the 4 minute. It didn't start. It was fundamentals. Someone just didn't go out and try to run harder.
No.
Or to be the next one they aspired to run harder and to beat that. Like, I just saw Grant do it, so I'm going to. But I've looked up on it as well. Cole Hawker, who attended my daughter's school and is now multi-time gold medalist, talking to him and his coach, like the things they did on like tuning of how he like lands his feet and runs,
like the kinematics
in his
of
shoes.
His knees.
It wasn't Cole run harder, run faster, push yourself. It was all the basics.
First principles. Crawl
and crawl better, walk and walk faster, and then run harder and more efficient. Like, so yeah, I think it's a great one that it does apply, and people just got to realize, go back to those basic principles. You can move them quicker, but if you skip them, you're probably going to trip over your own shoestrings. Yep,
and it's this thing, this funny circle of life. You start in college, in high school, learning first principles and drawing free body diagrams and
so
doing
frustrated
math.
that you just want to go to the easy part. Yeah,
and then you get so excited about design. Yeah. Right, and you're in sketching or drawing CAD, and you're
building circuit boards.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you go take it to get it made, and someone tells you they can't make that, and you're like, well, why? I drew it. And every Purdue engineer's first experience. Sorry, that is like Boilermaker special.
Oh man, yes, engineer. But a quick interruption there is, we had 30-year electronics engineers doing that at Diversified. I'm like, Ron Sandella's like, they've been doing this for 30 years. So, anyways, yes.
Yeah, and so then you learn how to make it a little bit as a designer, and you're like, all right, cool, now I know how to do this, and you get obsessed with process. If we do A and then B and then C in this order, design, build, test, it'll work. We'll fail less often, good things happen.
Yeah.
And then you get all the way to the end, and you go all the way back to first principles. Like, man, before I even put a pen to paper, if I on the product, if I just go right down the first principles of this problem, like the units that are involved, watts and volts, the solutions become much more apparent, much faster.
Yeah.
I didn't even solve the math right. I'm not good enough at math these days to do that by hand. But I know, is that term squared?
Yes.
Is that a linear term?
Yeah.
And this isn't just about the math. Like, we can go to the supply chain. Foam. You actually can't ship foam. If I want styrofoam around my TV, that has to be made within X number of miles from the factory.
Yes.
Or it's more expensive to ship than to make it.
Correct. Yeah.
And no one knows this. And it's,
for foam, which would most people would never understand.
But that's a squared term. Like the the distance from your foam factory to your electronics factory is a squared term of cost of your foam.
Yeah.
And it's not linear. So you have to figure out all these things of, oh, that's a nonlinear term. Oh, that's a linear term. That one's fine. We can solve that one later. And it's such this magic engineering term. So we're way off topic.
Yeah, by the way, I'm going to loop that back, though. That is, people would ask, what is AMVIC doing that's so special? Is bringing those basic blocking and tackling that core fundamentals into innovation. So reminding them that while you're out on the tip of the spear, if you use those, we can get you, under that 4 minute.
Yep.
But
you can't train harder. You have to learn how to run better.
And you can't just shove hard. You got to shove hard through those processes.
It's in the right way. It's like you can't run harder. You have to run harder the right way.
That is correct. Yeah, you're spot on. And again, it circles back to that, to tie off that point.
Yeah. No, Ben, thanks for joining again for round 2 on the Hardtech Podcast years later.
Yes, absolutely. I feel so much older. Probably look older if you look at the original one. So yeah,
we'll touch you up in post. It'll be fine.
That's right. Make me look good with AI. So yeah.
Well, everyone listening, thanks so much for joining. Please join us at the AIM IN event.
Yes, AIM IN. Quick
September
plug,
23rd.
Hardy plug. September the 23rd, downtown Indianapolis. Starts at 8:00. Networking. You will not want to miss it. The keynotes and the panels, we've got a critical energy panel, an OEM and innovation panel. We've got a human element and policy and what's next for training. And then we round it off with a great dessert session and networking. There will be live demos. If you have something on that on your calendar to that day, cancel it. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
No, and I'll be there speaking, so you'll definitely want to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Ben, thanks for coming.
Grant, thank you very much as always.
Awesome.